Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the long awaited return to the My Favorite Albums series that I've been working on since about 1931. I've been listing my favorite albums from every single year that I was born, since I was born, mostly focusing on rock-ish type albums, not really delving into much else. I have been avoiding live albums, greatest hits. These are all original material type albums. Some of yours may be on here, some of them may not. That's really none of my business. These are my favorite albums from these years. And today, we're going to take a look at 1994. I have listed, I think, 8 albums, maybe 10, I think, that are albums that you might have overlooked. And you should go give them a listen at least one time to see what you're missing. Some of them you might not even have heard of. Number 1, ZZ Top, Antenna. This was the period for me with ZZ Top where they emerged from the 80s slickness, Eliminator, all that kind of stuff. Sharp Dressed Man, Legs, Rough Boy. That 80s sheen that they had that was different from their 70s stuff. And when they emerged from that in the 90s finally, for me, this was the album that really kind of sent them on a new path, which was very bluesy to me. And this is a good album. If you've never heard ZZ Top, Antenna, go give it a listen, see what you think. Next one up is King's X, Dog Man. An incredibly heavy album from King's X. It's between it and Gretchen Goes to Nebraska for my favorite King's X albums. This is a really good album. 3-piece band, super tight, great vocals, great guitar, bass. They're just a good band. I've always enjoyed these guys. And Dog Man is kind of a turning point in their career. I think it was maybe their 5th or 6th album where the lead singer, bass player, kind of decided to say, screw the record company. I'm not going to do what you expect me to do. Let's do something we want to do. And this was the product. And I thought it was really good. The next one is by a fellow named Mark Lanegan, whom we just lost within the last, I don't know, year, 6 months, something like that. He was the lead singer for Screaming Trees, Seattle-based grunge outfit. But he put out about 15 albums of what could best be described as folk, Americana, gritty, in-your-face music. A lot of it is acoustic, a lot of it is sparse. This album is called Whiskey for the Holy Ghost. Not my favorite from him, but it came out this year and I really liked it, and I think you should at least listen to Mark Lanegan. If this album doesn't do it for you, randomly pick through 2 or 3 later albums. I guarantee you'll find something in there that you like. The dude has got some he's got some stuff to say, and he says it well. Next up, this was an EP, but I put it on here anyway. Alice in Chains, Jar of Flies. Mostly acoustic, mostly cool, actually really cool. This is a killer Alice in Chains album. I don't remember if this was before or after they did MTV Unplugged, but one or the other was the impetus for one or the other. It's just some really good stuff on it. It's a shame there's only like, I don't know, 6 or 7 songs on it. It's an EP, like I said. Good stuff. Always like Alice in Chains. They've never put anything out that I didn't like, and they're still rolling. Jerry Cantrell's still killing it. Okay, here's another one that you may have overlooked because you think she's weird and you just don't like her and whatever. You may have never listened to it. Tori Amos, Under the Pink. I happen to really enjoy her music. I like her, interviews. I like her live. I like her studio music. I just like her, and I think she puts out some really unique, cool stuff. Under the Pink was kind of the thing that blew up with her, where people went, wow, here's this person. What's she about? It's definitely worth a listen at least once if you've never heard it. And listen to the whole thing, just from the front to the end. Same with all of these that I suggest. You may not like the whole thing, but they're complete albums. The next one is Ben Harper. It was his debut album, Welcome to the Cruel World. I didn't find out about Ben Harper. This was 94. I didn't find out about Ben Harper until his third album came out, and I saw him on a TV show called Sessions at 54th Street with David Byrne as the host, and I went back and bought everything that he had out to that point, and I've been a fan of his ever since. Seen him live. Great artist. Welcome to the Cruel World there's some pretty raw stuff on there compared to some of his later stuff, but well worth a listen. That's one of those, if you haven't heard it, you need to go listen to it. This album was probably one of the most anticipated albums of the year for me. I could not wait for this album to come out. The last album they put out before this is one of my favorite albums of all times, and I had high hopes for this one. And it has some great stuff on it, but they never will live up to that last album that they put out before this one. That's Soundgarden. The album is Super Unknown. Just a killer collection of music. Great band at their peak of their powers probably then. A little less heavy than Bad Motorfinger in my opinion, but really good. Hey, speaking of heavy, Pantera came out with an album this year called Far Beyond Driven that will punch you in the skull. Just an unbelievably energetic, powerful, in-your-face Pantera. Great album. Pink Floyd came out with The Division Bell. Some really good stuff on that album. They got a lot of mileage out of that. They went on a huge tour after this. Just a really good album. It's not my cup of tea as far as earlier Pink Floyd, but I think David and Rick and Nick did fine without Roger Waters. It's just different. It's just not the same as the other one. Not better, not worse. Well, you can argue whichever way you want. But next up, we have Hoist by the band Fish. This album, they've played everything off this album, maybe with the exception of one oddity track that was on it. Consistently live ever since this came out. This album produced some great music. They have discovered over and over again how to get in and out of these songs with their jams and stuff like that. Just a wonderful album. Fish, Hoist. This next one's not necessarily rock and roll, but in spirit, it's as rock and roll gets. Johnny Cash, The American Recordings. This was the first album that he did with Rick Rubin, the first of 4, I believe. And just as raw as it gets. It's just him and acoustic guitar for the most part, sitting in his kitchen or in Rick Rubin's house. Wonderful concept for an album and then a series of albums that Rick Rubin came up with for him to do. It totally revived and blew Johnny's career higher than it probably had ever been before. It was a wonderful way for that man to go out, producing the last few albums worth of music that he did. Some really cool stuff on there. Next up, we have a band that has 2 Chads in the lineup. The only one I'm aware of. Band is called Live, and the album's called Throwing Copper. And in 1994, I absolutely loved this album. I played it over and over and over. They just had a sound that was new-ish at the time. It was like a lot of other stuff in 94. It was coming out of that grunge-ish kind of era. But they just had a sound that was just I loved it. I love that album. I still listen to it occasionally. It's a great album. Next up, we have the Allman Brothers Band, Where It All Begins. Probably the best thing they've done since Brothers and Sisters, probably. It was a return for them. They were just firing. This was the second album, actually, after they came back, reformed, and they were just kicking. They were just firing on all cylinders. Where It All Begins is a great album. Great song. I mean, there's nothing not to like about this album. It's just really, really good. Allman Brothers, Where It All Begins. Next up, we have one that you probably have not heard. Traffic put out an album this year. Traffic. Those guys from the 60s and the 70s. Steve Winwood, that guy. Him and Jim Capaldi got together to do something, and it turned into this Traffic album. It's called Far From Home, and I don't know how long it had been since a Traffic album came out, but I'm guessing it was probably, 15 years, back in the 70s, early 80s maybe. Been a long time. This album is a good collection of music, but to me it sounds like a Steve Winwood Traffic album as opposed to just Traffic in general. It has a lot of that 80s pop sensibilities that Steve Winwood had. One of my favorite singers of all time. It's more keyboard oriented than it is guitar oriented. That's not to say there's not any cool guitar on it, but a lot of it seems to originate from the keyboard. But if you haven't heard this, Traffic, Far From Home, go give it a listen. It's a good album. Next up, we have one that you probably wouldn't expect me to put on this list. It's an eponymous album by a fellow named Seal. It's actually the second album with the title Seal that he put out two in a row. This one's commonly known as Seal 2, but it doesn't have a 2 anywhere on it. This man is a talent, just an incredible talent. This is the album that featured Kiss from a Rose on it. Just some great stuff on this album. If you haven't listened to Seal, this album in particular, go give it a listen. It's wonderfully produced, incredible performance. His singing is great. All the musicianship on it is fantastic. They're good songs. It's just good.